Welcome back to Houston Life. So if your goal is to get healthier this new year, meal prepping can really save you some time. It can save you money during the week. But how do you get started?
It is such a great idea. So our next guest is taking us back to the basics to help simplify meal prepping. Chef Adrian Perez with Complete Eats is joining us once again on Houston Life. Chef Adrian, it's so great to see you.
Guys, thanks for having me.
It's been a long time. We were just chatting during commercial break about how when Houston Life first started 7.5 years ago, we saw Chef Adrian all the time, and I think it's great you are still chefing out there. And meal prepping, as Tessa said, does two really great things. You're eating a healthier meal typically, and you're saving a ton of money by doing it.
Absolutely. It's a lot of work for when you're first starting out. You have to get used to it, get the rhythm, figure out your tips and your tricks, but it can save your life. And when you're reaching for something to eat when you're hungry, there's something good. And that's where people fall down, I think, the most.
Totally. Instead of going through the drive-thru, you can just reheat a healthy meal.
Right.
Exactly.
And if you put the time and a little bit of effort into it, I find it's like, okay, no, I do that. I need to eat what I've prepared for myself instead of copping out and going to like a Mickey D's or something.
Absolutely. And I think people also don't know the basics of like, why am I choosing brown rice over white rice? What is the low glycemic carbohydrate versus, the ones that spike your insulin?
Right.
So that's what we're going to talk about today, first and foremost.
Okay, perfect. And we're going to break it down ingredient by ingredient. Quick question though, is this something you recommend people do once a week? Like, do we do grocery shopping on a Sunday, go home, meal prep it that day? Because that seems to be, it's a lot of work, right? So it has to work with our schedules.
So for 5 years, that's how I started my business, was meal prepping. I didn't miss a weekend. It was Saturday night, we'd go out. Sunday morning, I was in the kitchen until Monday afternoon the next day. Maybe sleep a couple hours. So it's a weekend thing for the week.
Because it's important to start that Monday. I feel like if you there's power in starting the first day off right. Like if I hit my workout, great. If I hit my food goals, great. Then it's like, I don't want to mess that up on Tuesday.
It sets you up,
because I'm already doing good things. Like I'm kind of on a roll. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are we buying at the grocery store on the weekend that we can start prepping?
So rice is one of the biggest things. I'm a big rice eater. So brown rice is still in its whole. It has that husk still on the outside. That's why it has a little chew to it when you cook it.
Yeah.
And so it still has the nutrients and it still has all the fiber. So what they did was they'll strip it, which makes the rice right, and it makes it easier to cook and taste better. So leaving the brown on it, leaving it in its natural state, is going to digest slowly.
Okay.
And when you're eating carbs, you want it to give you sustained energy, right?
Right.
So energy all day versus a quick spike, and then your blood sugar is on a roller coaster.
Okay.
Right? So we want to do brown rice, 100% whole wheat. So things have wheat in them, they're enriched wheat. So they're not truly wheat. They're mixed in with still a lot of processed things. So 100% is what you want to look for on the package.
Okay.
100% whole
wheat.
Okay, and I see you have sweet potatoes here. I feel like people are fighting with their potatoes too. Do you always, is a sweet potato just that much more superior as far as,
It's
health?
a low glycemic carbohydrate, so it digests slowly, and that's the only thing. It keeps your blood sugar steady.
Okay.
So it doesn't spike and send you in those ups and downs, those crashes. So and the white potato digests fast. Now, if you're gonna go run a marathon and you need that quick energy, totally fine. Or after the gym, after I work out, when your muscles need replenishment and they need to absorb it quickly, you can eat your white carbohydrates. That's the rule that I follow.
Okay, that is a good rule. That's a good rule. You also have some things on here, lemons, salmon. Lemon's a superfood.
So I'm a big Italian food fan. Cream sauces are one of my weaknesses, but they're heavy, they got a lot of butter, a lot of fat, and dairy doesn't always get along with everybody. So we're gonna do a lemon cream sauce without the cream today, and it's delicious over the salmon.
Do you promise without the cream it's still delicious?
I promise.
Okay.
This is one of the ones I nailed back in my meal prep days, and I'll keep it with me ever since then. So we cook stick to the whole grains, stick to your low glycemic carbohydrates. Unless you need some fast energy, then you can do the others. Of course, your vegetables have all the fiber, so you want to keep your carbs digesting slow, right? When it comes to the meats, your proteins, you can do lean meats. So lean meats, good fats, and good carbs, whole grain carbs. Those are the 3 rules I've stuck to for 20 years.
Wow.
Because I was a big boy growing up, so I had to kind of work backwards towards getting more fit and in shape.
Wow.
Also, your olive oil is super important. There's so many brands on the shelf. It's like an ocean. What do you pick, right?
Right.
So the things you want to look for are more private reserve olive oils, because the big olive oil companies, they import all these olives from around the world to mass produce, and by the time they get to the press, they're half rotten. So they have to treat them with peroxides and chemicals. So you're getting a processed olive oil, and then they'll throw in a little bit of extra virgin. So you should think of olive oil as the juice of a fruit from a tree. So it's got to be fresh pressed, hand picked, and pressed within 24 hours.
Okay.
And picked once a year November, December, that time of year when it's ripe and ready to go.
That is a great tip, and fresh olive oil tastes much different than a lot of the store brands. It is a little more expensive, but you say it's worth it for the taste and for your health.
Definitely. And plastic bottles like this one, they start to infuse with the oil because they're made of the same components, like chemically. So you get that, like the Tupperware when it fuses with the
microplastics.
Yes,
right.
Absolutely. So stick to more glass bottles.
Okay. So we have this beautiful spread. How do we prepare these ingredients?
So for the sweet potatoes, this is something I love to do because everyone thinks about cinnamon and like sweet and like, and it's old school. Like I'm over that. So we want to keep it savory because the potato's already sweet. You want to contrast it to bring out the flavor.
Yes.
Add more sweet to it.
Yes.
I never understood that rule, but I'd always get in trouble for that one, but I don't follow it anyway. So I just slice these into circles and then you want to crisscross them into cubes. And I've got some olive oil in the skillet already heating up. You want to preheat your skillet when you're doing skillet cooking. Make sure it's hot when the food goes in.
Okay.
That way you get like a really good sear and it brings all those natural sugars that are already in the food to the outside. That's called caramelization.
Okay.
Right, and that's how you develop flavor without having to add salts and all that extras to it, right?
Right.
So you want to let it cook and do its job on the bottom of the skillet. And look, brown these up for a couple of minutes and they start to get that nice golden color on the outside.
It's beautiful.
I threw some shallots in there and then salt, pepper, and garlic. So keep them savory, very easy. Like
nice and easy.
Nice and easy. And we're serving that with chicken, another protein that people have a lot of trouble with. So the chicken is 165. That's the temperature you want to cook it to. But people are going to, have that information or know how to get there.
And 165 is that the internal temperature of the chicken, right?
Correct.
Is that right? So if you have a meat thermometer, you can just pop it in there.
So when you pop a hole in your chicken, what that does is it leaves a hole for the juices to leak out.
Oh, so that's how it gets dry.
Right. Have you ever got your steak, sit down at your table, and you cut it open and the juices go all over the plate?
Yes.
You didn't allow it time to rest. So that when the meat's hot, all those juices are flowing throughout the meat. And so when you let it rest, they redistribute and they settle back in the meat.
Okay.
So that's what makes it juicy. And I know people are really scared to cook because of the salmonella and whatnot, but here's the thing. When you're overcooking your chicken, that's what the problem is. It's just overcooking it. It's a simple fix.
You're drying it out.
Right. And I'm sure y'all have seen the little hand test where you can take your palm of your hand and this little piece of flesh here, that's what a raw piece of meat feels like. It's bouncy. It's soft. And you just touch your thumb down each finger, it firms up. So chicken should be on the pinky and the thumb together. It should have a little give, but not too much. It should be firm.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, and your food's going to continue to cook even after it comes out of the skillet. It's got residual heat.
Okay.
So cover it.
So you should rest your chicken just like you would rest a steak?
You should rest a casserole. You should rest anything. Anything that comes out of the oven that's bubbly and moving around, let it rest.
Wow.
Give it a minute.
That's a great tip.
Okay, moving on to the salmon as well. This can be tricky if people aren't accustomed to doing fish.
I love salmon because it's fast and easy, though, to be honest with you. And you can pop it in the oven if you don't want to do too much work on like 425, hot and fast.
Okay.
Okay, so I keep the skin on my salmon when I pan sear it because it gets crispy.
Yeah.
And people are like, what, the skin's, they like, it's crispy to put on top of salads, like it's like almost like fried chicken skin. So I'll do that. So just a little bit of time in the skillet, a little olive oil goes in there. Let me get one of these. And you're gonna cook it till it starts to turn white, and the white starts to creep to the middle, right? And that's when you flip it over. And you cook the salmon medium rare, so it should fall apart, but it shouldn't like flake too much.
Okay.
So it should be nice and silvery. Look at that. Let's just use this right here. We lost our tongues, we're gonna improvise.
That's okay.
Right, so we're gonna do the flesh side down first, and we wanna get a little salt and pepper on there if you want, and then again, leave the skin on there 3 to 4 minutes aside until that color starts to change. That's when you know to flip it. So it's super simple, and it comes out nice with a good golden edge on the outside right there.
That is a beautiful finished product right there. So Adrian, when it comes then to preparing the veggies and the protein, this will stay good in someone's fridge for the entire week. You start with a base of the sweet potatoes, the asparagus, the rice on the side, and you essentially just put them in Tupperware containers in the fridge.
Make a big serving of it and make a big pan sheet of the salmon and then just portion them out. It's really simple. And add different sauces. So coconut cream.
Okay.
Chicken broth. Lemon zest and lemon, and a little bit of garlic and onion sauteed all together, and it makes this beautiful lemon cream sauce. And the coconut cream tastes just like it. The broth kills the sweetness, so you get that nice savory flavor.
Oh, I love it. Okay.
Yeah, still getting all that taste, but you're getting a healthier meal versus that heavy Italian sauce.
And the zest of a lemon, there's nothing more beautiful and like invigorating.
Yes, and I love that we're using coconut cream, not for pina coladas and coquitos anymore. It's a new year, so now we're using it to make a creamy sauce.
It's that thick layer on top of your coconut milk. You've seen it open the can, it's got that thick layer on top.
Yeah.
Keep it in the fridge so it gets solid, and then use that, just the cream.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay, that's going to be the new cream. Got it.
I love it. Chef Adrian Perez, it's great to see you.
You too.
Thanks for coming back, and that smells absolutely delicious.
Wonderful.
You've inspired me to meal prep. I am going to do this, and I am saying it out loud, so y'all will
out more than anyone else. We're holding him accountable.
Until now. Today is a new day. Chef Adrian, thanks once again. To keep up with Adrian and for more info on meal prepping, you can check out our website, HoustonLife.tv. Look for that scene on Houston Life section.
Okay.